everybody and welcome to Infinity Nikki News. This is the type of video that I tend to do once a month, every month, that allows me to discuss finer details of everything that has been going on in the community without needing to make very clickbaity, drama-filled videos more than once a month. Sometimes situations are kind of bigger than expected. In that case, I do make a separate video for it. For example, I made a separate video on the whole Infold's leaks are poison to all creation. That part of everything hasn't gone into the news video, mainly because that situation got so big that I felt like it was the right thing to do to make a separate video just for it. So this video will mostly be covering player concerns, little dramas, community dramas that have been happening in about the past 20 days or so. I tend to normally make these videos about a week later than I am doing right now, but what can I say? We have been a very dramatic bunch. So let's start from Stardew Valley collab. Something that has already happened, but it has been announced that it is happening about 19-20 days ago, and Infinity Nikki players were very excited about it, and they were wondering about how do Stardew Valley players feel about the fact that Stardew Valley and Infinity Nikki are collaborating together, and Stardew Valley players' opinions were fairly negative, mainly because Infinity Nikki is a predatory gacha game, which is fair. So they have raised such concerns as the creator of Stardew Valley must be making this collaboration because he is short on money making his new indie game, and that's why he did it. So the creator of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, has come out and stated, "There have been a few collaborations between Stardew Valley and other games over the years. To be clear, I never receive any money from these collabs. I've done them because I was a fan of the other games or because I genuinely thought that players would like it." Now, this has also received a response from Infinity Nikki team saying, "We really appreciate you sharing your feelings on this. Any unintended stress was the last thing we wanted. It was our way of saying thanks, a free love letter to the Stardew Valley from our team and for the community. Working on it felt like we were all tending a little farm together. The care and detail you pour into your world is exactly why we want to make cozy games too. We're still learning from you every day." Now, this by itself would be like a tiny little innocent exchange, and mind you, Concerned Ape was addressing like a couple of people that were saying like, "Oh, he must be getting a lot of money from this on social media." Like, it wasn't even negative or badly intentioned or like any kind of harassment or drama, but that little situation sparked enough interest for us to get a new article on us from Vice, of all things, where they went with "Stardew Valley creator harassed by angry Infinity Nikki players." And the whole community went, "Nani? We're doing what now? Why? Excuse me? We weren't even the ones making the comment. Because if you're playing a predatory gacha game, you're not mad that a nice person with a nice game is collaborating with your predatory gacha game. It's the Stardew Valley community that was very concerned about the fact that Stardew Valley was collaborating with a predatory gacha game. They even like did this kind of little thing. The studio behind Infinity Nikki apologized to Stardew Valley creator Eric Barone after he received a wave of backlash from angry players. It was like a small little cute tweet exchange, and then like, of all the things that could make game journalists write about Infinity Nikki, like the predatory things, like the happenings that I tend to cover that happen patch to patch, No, they select like a pretty harmless tweet exchange that was like really a nothing burger and decided that that's what they're gonna write their article on. Not about the fact that like Info does illegal discounts or like leaves are poison to all creation would be like one of good example where like community went very upsetty with the studio behind Infinity Nikki, but does that get attention? No, no, no. It's like this little tweet exchange of all things. I do like though that Concerned Ape came in with this. Gamer journalists, you don't have to write an article every time I tweet. This makes people think I'm making a big statement or fishing for good boy points, when I am just making a small comment. Like I would say to a friend, I don't always want to be in PR mode. Thanks. So, like, that was the most bizarre, weirdest thing to happen while, like, waiting for 1.9 patch to release. And then it released. And the collab was about 7 minutes long. Like, don't get me wrong, we do get like a free outfit, we get like one free furnishing, which is like the chicken gramophone, and if you groom it, you get like 4 different melodies, like 4 different songs from Stardew Valley that you can play in Infinity Nikki, and you also like get like a little hair clip, and that is cute and all, but when you say a collab and you hype it up, people get excited. People think, well, maybe we're gonna get like half an hour of story or something. Maybe we would get to like keep that little like Stardew Valley dude around. But no, 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 no. He pops in and he pops out. Effectively, the whole thing is like your little housing creatures things go, oh no, the gate is acting up. The gate that leads to like your place is acting up. And pop out comes this guy and he comes bearing gifts. So you receive like a free outfit. And then you're like, oh, little guy, you obviously don't belong here. Off you go back home. Wait, let me wrap up a little gift for you, and then you just send him on your way, on this way. Like, it's like literally 5 minutes. Like, that creature only exists to give you an item, and then he runs away. And the shitty bit about it is that because this collab was like so hyped, I know that some Stardew Valley players even started playing Infinity Nikki based entirely on the fact that there's gonna be a collab. And I can't imagine how disappointed they're gonna be when they see the full thing. It's not like the worst collab in the world, like game collabs don't really need to have a lot of story. They can just give you like items from a different game. But come on, if you're gonna hype it up, then the expectation is set. And it wasn't met. This particular user wrote this, my disappointment is immeasurable. Okay, so firstly, this is a rant. Secondly, this is my own opinion. Crazy people have those. Now, I love Stardew Valley. I have 200 plus hours in the game. When I heard that there was a collab, oh my god, I got so hyped. The creator of Stardew is chill. He would have let Infinity Nikki have immense freedom with the insane property. And what the fuck do they do? Oh, hey, speak to a Junimo for fucking 7 minutes, and you'll get one outfit and the songs. Be actually so fucking real. This was so lazy. I don't give a crap what you say. I think I'll remember this encounter forever. You spoke to it for 7 minutes. It was literally hello, goodbye. You could have done so much fucking more. Give us plantable fruits or vegetables or something from the actual game. Maybe you give us clothing items that represent more of Stardew instead of one outfit. Give us more story, more event, more, I don't know, Stardew furniture maybe? This was fucking boring, lazy, and uncreative. I literally don't care. I could have pulled this off myself. I'm so disappointed. It's literally 1.5 again. So much hype for both the collab and housing, and then reality shoves me back down. Look, maybe my expectations were too high with other collabs I've seen, but seriously? Seriously? You have the chance, the fucking opportunity, the golden ticket with a massive property, the freedom to do anything, because the creator is such an amazing guy and not even a strict company like Fate or Assassin's Creed, and they did a million times better even if Fate was meh. And you do this. You have made my expectation and excitement for future collabs absolutely disintegrate. Which was something I was always hyped for because Infinity Nikki is such a perfect game for collabs. And then just, look, I know there's no iconic look in Stardew, but there is plants, furniture, characters, enemies, etc. And you couldn't even do that? No fun story? Man, I am happy about the music this, but just no Junimo plush even? I'm so disappointed. Rant over. Now, I would say that I I don't know how much this person writing has, invested their heart into the fact that there's gonna be a Stardew Valley and Infinity Nikki collab. And like I said, if the player starts playing Infinity Nikki because of the collab, this is gonna be their response because the collab was frankly shit. But I wouldn't say that we're at 1.5 situation at the moment. Like, the story wasn't great. I have a whole review on housing alone, and I linked it in the description down below if you want to see. I'm confused about it because it's expensive, it's clunky, it's junk, it's one of the worst building tools that I've had in a video game, but also it's one of the most fun that I've had in Infinity Nikki for a long time, simply because there is now something for me to do, and I have creative ideas, and I'm trying to get by with what I got. So I have something exciting that has been given to me. It's definitely not 1.5 situation that just like retconned the whole story, was a very buggy released like a Sea of Stars that is obviously very unfinished and just had like child games, like a seesaw. It's not that, it's just the patch was overhyped and it turned out to be a bit average. I can live with average. Average doesn't offend me, but I mean, if you only join for the collab, this is gonna be the kind of reaction that you're gonna have. So, you know, maybe they shouldn't overhype collabs that are like gonna be 7 minutes in length. Just tell people that, oh yeah, we can borrow some outfits and items from this other property. Like, we were allowed to do that, and that's precisely what we're doing. So it is gonna be like a hello and goodbye. Because when you go, oh, there's gonna be like this big collab, it's gonna be like a major part, and you like introduce it in Gamescom, which I'm pretty sure they did. People expect a bit more than this. This is like a very run-of-the-mill thing of like, yeah, we got a couple of items from this other game, that's it. Anyway, we have more things to cover than just this, so let's move on. But if you have strong opinions about Stardew Valley and Infinity Nikki collab, please express them down in the comment section down below. It wasn't like a big thing for me. It wasn't like the main thing that I've been waiting for, even though I do play Stardew Valley and I have been actually revisiting it in preparation for Infinity Nikki collab, but I'm not like a mega hardcore fan, so this didn't like hit me hard. It was just very, very, very tiny in comparison and kind of meh bit, but it didn't detract from my game. So it wasn't a big deal for me. Now, remember, leaks are poison to all creation? Infold released an apology. Only in English, by the way, because it is the English community that got the most upset by it. We've seen the discussions about leaks in our recent official actions. We like to clarify a few points to avoid confusion or misunderstanding and to apologize where our earlier wording fell short. Our recent post about leaks was intended to reaffirm our stance against unauthorized leaks. The handheld pounding hammer is an in-game hammer that symbolizes action against unlawful leaking. The post was simply meant to show that we take leaks very seriously, and that pounding hammer you received in-game is only a playful symbol of our stance on cracking down on leaks. It was never directed at our stylists or the broader community in general. Of course, if you want to give us a virtual bonk on the head for causing the confusion, we wouldn't blame you. The Infinity Nikki team has always stood together with every stylist who loves the game and with our community. Your feedback means the world to us. We received your suggestions and our team is carefully reviewing them to make necessary adjustments. As always, we'll keep listening to your feedback and finding ways to make your experience in Mirrorland with us the best that it can be. The sounds of rustling bamboo and distant music fill the air. A new version is on the way, and Floorwish is always ready to welcome new stylists. Follow the music and let's embark on a new adventure together. So, the issue with their response to leaks is not the fact that, leaks are unlawful and that they're hammering down on them. It's the fact that it was incredibly dramatic, sent to every single player, and sent with a hammer. Like, what Infinity Nikki people really need is somebody that can honestly translate to them general Western sentiment and our reactions before they take the action. So what they actually need is a liaison of or a people person, a community manager, someone that can tell them the English-speaking community will react badly to this. So let's reword this and maybe not send it to everyone's in-game mail, and that hammer will be entirely misunderstood. So maybe not the right time to send it out. It won't come off as a playful thing, especially when people want handhelds from 4-star outfits and you're simply not giving them. So it's not like a big deal. It's more like a funny thing where Infold for some reason decided to go full drama queen mode, and it's not the mode that goes down well in the West. People don't just rat on one another. People don't appreciate hammers sent to their mail. They just want to play a happy game. They don't need you to launch some bullshit rant inside their mailbox. Really, if you don't want to create free content for me and go back and forth with your community, the easiest thing to do would be to hire a clear-headed Western person that can tell you what's gonna go down well and not go down well with the Western community, and then you can adjust the response and what you're sending out to that. Plus, they were so flustered in that they reworded their social media posts 3 to 5 times in quick succession, and the last rewording sounded kind of professional and PR speak and a lot more understandable. So if you just had a Western person that was your AI translated text will go down really badly with your community. Maybe you wouldn't have sent it out and you didn't create an opportunity for people to really make fun out of you. And the only reason why it disappeared, the whole leaks are poison to all creation thing as fast as it did, was because housing started getting advertised really heavily, only a couple of days after this happened. So everyone was Info really pooped themselves and this is funny. And then they were housing news! Housing news! Which, honestly, when you do a PR blunder, people will only, laugh at you for the time being and it will pass, but, maybe try not to make PR blunders from the get-go. And when it comes to PR blunders, I do feel like Infinity Nikki kinda needs better algorithm as to what is displayed in the lookbook for people. Because here's the thing. The lookbook has been displaying a couple of the same people over and over again and spamming everyone's front page when they want to get fashion inspo with the same sort of dress over and over and over again, to a point where people started shitting on the creators that used the lookbook. They were this is a dishonest person. They must have gotten bots to upvote them, or it's some sort of social media influencer and their fan base has been upvoting them severely, and that's why we're seeing them at the top of the lookbook. And no, it's just like some people that really are into using Lookbook, and over time the game just decided to start throwing their creations in nothing but their creations, which puts them in a very awkward situation because they're like, I don't want the community to hate me. I wasn't trying to spam. And it puts the community in a very awkward situation because they're like, the only people on Lookbook are like the same few people over and over again, and it is entirely spammed. So if I upload something, nobody's gonna like it, nobody's gonna see it. And if there is like some sort of unique new upload from somebody that's not these creators, nobody's gonna like it and nobody's gonna see it. So we're kind of mad because these creators are obviously probably doing something that's not very nice. So there has been like some inner community drama. So the creators had to stand up and say, no, it's Infold's algorithm that is shit. So let me read here. Hi everyone, I'm Infinity Senshi, and this is all of their creations, and this is what like the trending tab normally looks like. Just their creations and nothing else, hence the player anger. You have probably seen my posts on the popular tag in the lookbook since there have been even 2 Reddit threads made about them. I have noticed some speculation about why my outfits keep showing up there. Honestly, it has given me a lot of anxiety, so I just want to clear things up. I do not use bots, and I would not even know how to make them. What really happened is that one of my outfits received a lot of likes, people clicked into my profile, and it snowballed from there. Now the algorithm keeps pushing my looks. I know it can feel like I'm clogging up the lookbook, and I truly apologize if it comes across that way. It has never been my intention. The Disney Princess series was never about chasing likes. I simply thought it would be fun to make them all so everyone could find their favorite. Eventually, I deleted most of them because even I got tired of seeing them everywhere, but the codes are still on my Twitter, and I will also upload them to my Tumblr later. I have also noticed that cosplay or character-inspired looks often get more attention because people recognize the character and are more likely to favorite. To clear up some confusion, share codes do not link back to anyone's lookbook. They only create a standalone version of the outfit. Popularity really comes down to how the algorithm promotes things, not follower count. I am not trying to spam or block anyone out. I would actually love to see more variety, and I hope Infold eventually adds a restriction so only a few looks from the same creator can appear at once. My motto has always been to treat others the way I would like to be treated. Not everything will be one person's cup of tea, but it may be someone else's favorite. At the end of the day, we're all human behind the screen, and you never know if your words could be the final push for someone who's already struggling. I hope this community can stay kind and supportive. Too long didn't read. I do not use bots. One of my looks received a lot of likes, which snowballed with the algorithm. Cosplay and character outfits usually get more attention. And I would also love to see more variety, so everyone has a fair chance. Sorry if it feels like I'm clogging up the lookbook. That has never been my intention. So there has been a bit of like player drama going on, and I would say that this one is entirely on Infold, because if not for their algorithm, a couple of people wouldn't be the only ones pushed forward with the lookbook, and that way they also wouldn't receive a lot of ire from fellow players that think that they must have cheated in some way, shape, or form. This is just an example of how bad gameplay setup mechanics can actually snowball and like become a source of anxiety or like a source of negative opinions on other people and players fighting players. In general, it's best to avoid that in your games. Now, before the housing released, we got a preview for a housing furniture store. And one thing that people were very, very angry about is that there were quite a lot of furniture sold for the diamonds or stellarites, like one or the other currency. One currency is entirely paid. The other one can be received from dailies as a free-to-play player. And some furniture were like exclusive for stellarites, some furniture was exclusive for diamonds. The worst thing though is that you had to pay per piece of furniture and you wouldn't receive a blueprint, so you couldn't ever make it again. You would have to rebuy it. And if the update period ends and the item goes away, well, then you missed out on it. So if you think that you would be doing builds with this specific item sometime in the future, you would want to buy up a lot of it up front and like drive up, like have quite a bit of spending done for the housing. Now, mind you, housing is still very expensive because it's hard to get the materials that you need or a lot of housing currency every week. You can buy the materials that you don't have with housing currency, but then you can buy housing currency with diamonds. So what happens is that people that have big and extravagant builds that can even like compete in housing competitions, the only way that they have ever arrived there was by paying real money in order to craft those blueprints with items that they did not have, rather than wait like a week to get one wall. So it's still not great, but it could have been so much worse. To read the post, the new furniture sets come with an item limit, and the only way to get multiple copies is to purchase them separately. Chinese players are very upset right now on their social media platforms. I don't know if Infold will delete their comments, but wanted to let everyone know what's happening. They recently released a furniture set video preview along with price descriptions on their Chinese site and social media, and since then players have been leaving very disappointed comments. I don't understand why furniture is so expensive. Homeworld should just be a minor gameplay element as I see it, like in the game Nishuan. Most items can be bought with in-game currency. Only the top-notch and good-looking ones require real money. You're basically a dress-up game, yet you dare to sell furniture even more expensively than clothes. Who would want to play that? This season, buying all the furniture could get you 12 copies of Stardew Valley at their lowest price ever. Just when we said you were doing well with the Stardew Valley collaboration, you put this kind of move again. Don't you want new players anymore? Everyone says this is like another server launch and the pace is just like the initial launch, testing players' limits once again. So there was anger upon anger upon anger, and Infold released an apology letter. To sum up, they're removing the whole store until the second half of the patch, so we're gonna receive it in about a week. I don't know what's gonna come back, guys. That might be another, like, big fire for the community. Hopefully not. And they're gonna be incorporating blueprints into buying furnishings with real money so that you can make extra copies on yourself, which, considering once again that you can buy materials you don't have with housing currency and you can exchange diamonds for housing currency, I mean, your housing is already quite monetized. You didn't need to also add buying separate copies of items individually for real money. So, you know, that was entirely unnecessary. I'm glad that it is removed. We did have a bit of fun with it though while it was still happening. I'm gonna just switch the sound off and hopefully this shows up alright. Yeah, it does. I don't want to get copyright claims on music. People were like showing how they're gonna decorate their rooms with like nothing. It's just gonna be empty and desolate. Damn bitch, you live like this. Room tour. The back rooms. apology letter. Because, yeah, players really memed on them and they just went back on what they said in, I think, like 24 hours or less. So it was a very, very fast turnaround of like, whoop, the response is very negative. Let's just pull the whole store, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that they have done. But I did enjoy the community's desire to meme on the company once again while it was happening. It's these like spontaneous events where players get together to fight the greedy company by just like really dunking on them and then the company having to scramble that really make me feel very at home in Infinity Nikki fan base. Like, it just makes me happy because it is fun to dunk on greedy companies for the most part. It's nice that it achieved something, but like, I'm just here for the dunking. Like, well, I also enjoy playing the game, but I'm also here for the dunking because dunking is honestly pretty cool and funny, and I absolutely approve. Now, this is just a tiny bit of a tidbit. It is a person that did ultra versus smooth performance settings comparison. And I think that it is kind of fun to just look at because, well, ultra smooth, like really low settings, they get no greenery whatsoever. So I'm wondering what that housing island looks on mobile phones. It can't be good. So low settings, high settings, low settings, high settings, low settings, high settings, low settings, high settings. You get the point. The point is that the difference between low and high settings is incredibly huge in this game. Sorry, mobile users, I can't imagine how you're playing. I am so used to seeing flowers and trees and shrubbery and all the other things that make the environment green and pretty, and then what mobile players get is desolation, which is one way to optimize it, but I definitely think that they could have been doing better with the optimization of the whole game. Now, we're past the patch now. One thing that was upsetting people, together with the fact that we don't get a secondary ability wheel just for housing, so we just got effectively 5 extra abilities and nowhere to put them. So people have to be switching out their ability wheel things all the time, which is not a very comfy experience. So that was like echoed a lot. I also have a full review on the whole housing thing, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into housing, but one thing that people feel really gypped about is 999 free furniture that Infold was advertising, because majority of this is just the same sort of furnishing, but like repeated multiple times. So for example, 84 chunks of foundation and like 26 different chunks of foundation and 12 corners of foundation all count as part of those like 999 free items. You can find like over 100 of the same kind of tree. You can find quite a lot of walls on that building, but what people thought was that we meant 999 unique blueprints that are coming out with the housing update, so that you can make 999 unique items. What Infold meant is it's the amount of items that you get, but a lot of them are repeated. So once again, several hundred of the same kind of tree, that sort of deal. So community was feeling kinda gypped about it. Now mind you, housing is a big function, so there's a lot of very mixed reactions. Like, everyone is like discovering the parts where they gypped and cut corners and it wasn't great on their own time. And then there's like, at the same time, people are actually utilizing the tools and making quite impressive builds. So once again, this is not a 1.5 situation. This is a far more of a mixed bag sort of update. I do like that a lot of people did make memes of, yes, girl, give us nothing. 999 plus free furnishings, and they took pictures of like really pretty furnishings from around the world, and then they posted what's in like the first book from Wishfield, where you get to like photograph furnishings, like a random newspaper kiosk, like this very unimpressive chair. Would you like a fish selling stand? Would you like a shop sign? Majority of people like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, there are things that people really missed. Like, there's no toilets, no bathtubs, no fridges, no stoves. It's very hard to like set up a normal looking house, but then you can have a random newspaper stand. And do what with it, exactly? I I found some enjoyment in like trying to make do with what I have. And at that point, I can get very excited and go, look at how I use this. Like, I recently used magazine racks in my house. And I was like, it looks absolutely perfect for my upstairs reading nook, which is inside the roof. So it's like the whole roof room sort of thing. And they just go really, really well. But when I first got them, I was like, what am I gonna use magazine racks for? So it's not typically used kind of furnishings that people expected to see. There's also this meme of home ownership is a lie. And this is where I would build my treehouse if I could build something. Mainly because making extra walls and floors is very, very expensive, and if you're doing it as a free to play, it's gonna take you like a week per 3 walls, which is not a reasonable tempo for making some walls for your house, which means that you're either purchasing these things or you're just building with what the preset house came with, which is not a lot of building materials. It's not quite enough. So it was another point of contention from the whole community. One thing that drew ire of people was also that they introduced Orin as a character, and he has gotten exactly like 2 minutes of screen time and then fucked off. He was like an attractive dude that's a fallen god from a different world that got pulled into Sea of Stars by the seer and has been living there for a while, and you would think that could make for a very interesting story, but nope, he's there to be like, she gifted you an island. And that's it. The island's yours. I'm gonna leave you here now. So, bye. it's it's a long list of NPCs that get treated just like this. Majority of NPCs get introduced for like a couple of minutes or at most for one update. Like, who's gonna revisit the NPCs from Danking Island? They were well-made, well-crafted NPCs, but they were still designed to be discarded. And in this update, we're seeing NPCs that were created for like a 2-minute cameo and then got discarded, which is even worse. So you have complaint posts like, Infinity Nikki needs to stop introducing interesting, well-designed characters only to have them vanish after a single update or quest. I feel like with other gachas and even other Nikki games, having interesting side characters is always a key component. But as each update comes out, I lose hope that we're ever gonna get a proper cast of recurring developed characters. Imagine if in Genshin we only spoke to Zhongli once, then he never shows up again and we find out everything off screen or in an exposition dump. Imagine if in Star Rail every event only has you interacting with robots and mascot characters and maybe Herta once in a blue moon. Imagine if after we defeated Child and Li Wei, he goes to prison and then disappears and he gets his backstory retcons off screen. Imagine if only Himiko on March 7th were on the Astral Express and we only meet March 7th to learn how to use the camera, and Himiko just gives us quests. Pom Pom is our main companion on story quests now. I want to hold out hope that things will get better, but man, it is hard. I must just take a break from the game until 2.0. And lastly, because I am running out of time, and guys, I have a raid to attend again. I know that this happens quite often when I make these videos, but I tend to squeeze these videos in like an hour and then be like, oh my, I didn't give myself enough time, especially considering that like I decided to do a full makeup. That's fine, I can go Guild Wars 2 raiding with full makeup. Who's gonna know? Literally nobody except for me. And then I will be like, my eyeshadow has fallen into my eye. Give me a sec, guys. And they will be like, Nani, why do you have eyeshadow on? We're doing a raid. Most of us are like in our jammies, just woken up on the Sunday morning. Anyway, that is a completely unrelated rant. The new web event is leaking parts of your email address when inviting others because you know how much Infold loves your privacy, like asking for bank statements to prove that you haven't made refunds to the game, but like the full bank statement when your currency went missing. Well, this time they have like a little phone game, which is you plop tubes of the same type and makes a bigger type and then a bigger type and then a bigger type, and the idea is to collide the two of the biggest types into one before like your tube that you're doing this in fills up with all the trash of the types that did not collide together. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly. And you can get like a couple of hundreds of diamonds, a couple of pulls from the permanent banner from this. A lot of people are doing it. And if you get a team going of 4 people in this game, then you also get like your own background. So a lot of people are sharing invite codes. Well, maybe they should be a bit more careful about that, because a lot of people that share invite codes to each other don't really know one another. So you get posts like joining a team. You're invited to team. And this is where they put out the email address. It's not the full email address, but it's still parts of it. And like, look, if you give like the first bit of my email, but then cover at Gmail, then people can actually guess that my email is at Gmail pretty easily, because there's very few email domains that people use on the regular. So it's kind of a shitty thing to do. I really wanted to get the rewards from this event that you can only get by forming a team with other players. That's why I found another Infinity Nikki player here on Reddit to team up with. I sent them the link and tapped on it because I was curious to see what the invite looks like, and apparently it shows the other person a part of your email address. Most of it is censored, but some letters are still visible. Just why? Why can't it say player XYZ, another player invited you, instead of leaking a part of my email? I mean, surely I do have a username inside Infinity Nikki. I also have a unique IUD. I think if the game leaked unique IUD, that would be a lot more reasonable than the leaked parts of my email, allowing then other people to guess the rest of that information and then like sell it to scam sites. So, you know, you might want to treat player data a bit more carefully than this. But this is not the most egregious breach of player data that we had seen, so this feels tame by Infold standards. This is not really asking for bank statements, but it's still an unpleasant surprise for people that received it. So, you know, maybe don't do that. So, there it is. We had a couple of fairly dramatic things. We had a couple of not so dramatic things. It was a very mixy-matchy month. I wanted to make this video now, even though I don't know what's gonna happen with the whole store thing of the second half of this update. but the links were accumulating, so I thought I may as well just make it this week and leave it at that. So thank you for watching. This is what's happening in Infinity Nikki world. It's a lot of interactions between players, some things, some big events where we got to clown on the company, and some really questionable decisions made by Vice, which is just how them Infinity Nikki wheels go round and round. So thank you so much for watching. I have other videos that aren't just me summing up Reddit posts on this channel because I have been accused of that before. I play through patches. I stream the game on a new account. I have released lengthy reviews for things like the housing, for example. I talked about specific features in the game, but some people just get like posts where I sum up everything that has happened in the community and like the past however long, like a month, and then they go, oh, you're just here to shit on the game. Well, that's absolutely not the case. So just so you know, there is a whole playlist of Infinity Nikki videos. Actually, two. One of it is for my free-to-play playthrough with a new character, and the other one is me investigating ongoing patches. So if that interests you, you can go and seek them out. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you, my Patreon supporters, for allowing me to make videos such as these, and I hope that I'm gonna see you in my other ones. Toodaloo.